In Nigeria, GTEx 2025 has wrapped up, and one of the highlights was Apruvia, which is a software startup positioning itself as a challenger to global giants like the Microsofts, Oracles, and Salesforce of the world, with the launch of its a workspace manager, which is a no-code AI platform where third-party software developers can design, build, and deploy enterprise-grade software applications. It was unveiled at GTEx Nigeria in Lagos and offers businesses a toolkit to digitize and automate processes without relying on expensive consultants or proprietary foreign licenses. Now, it takes skills to put all these items together. Happy to have joining us from Gothenburg in Sweden, the CEO and co-founder of MuchSkills, Daniel Nilsson, who of course was the keynote speaker at the Philips Consulting Workplace Workshop 3.0 new report on AI. It's so good to have you with us, Daniel. Thank you. Welcome to the show. So I wanted to start off by asking you, with everything that all the headlines we've looked at this morning, what role do skills play when you have companies like Apruvia that are attempting to take on giants in the software industry space with its own suite of applications?
First of all, thank you so much. And skills is the lifeblood of all innovation, for sure. I mean, nothing can get done without the right skills and the right people. And I think Apruvia is a good example, actually. The CEO was interviewed, and I was reading it. He said that 50% of his early costs went into upskilling his hires. That's a lot of money that had been invested in this. And maybe if he could focus earlier on hiring even better people, he didn't have to upskill so much. But it could be hard, like it's impossible sometimes, and you just have to invest heavily in upskilling. So skills do matter a lot. Make sure if you're an entrepreneur, hire the best, whatever you can find, and do your best to upskill. That will lead to outstanding results for your business.
All right. Now Daniel, again, thanks for mentioning that because it does cost a lot of money. I mean, look no further than Meta, right? And their hiring spree to poach talent, the $200 million they offered to someone who worked with Apple to join their intelligence team. How can smaller players in emerging markets hope to compete?
I mean, let's be honest here. You can't. I mean, it's like, okay, let's be really to the point here. Even Apple is hesitating in this moment, and they're kind of like, you know what, we're not going to match Meta's like $200 million package. It kind of says it all, and Apple have insane amount of cash and money. Look, we need different strategies. These are the 1% superstar hires, crazy superstars. We don't need the big superstars. We can focus on all the other amazing people that are out there, amazing engineers. We can attract them with purpose, growth opportunities, equity, flexibility, and inspiring and really cool projects. Not everybody wants to work for big companies, and there are some very inspiring stories in the world. The first one is the blue lead. This is an engineer. His name is Suji Nakamura. I hope I said that right. He invented the blue lead. Was not in a fancy lab. He had very little money. It was a small company. It was not easy for him at all. And what happened? He worked hard. He won this race. He invented this. The fancy labs, the rich labs, they did not invent it. And he won a Nobel Prize because of this. I think that is saying it all. There are geniuses out there. They are everywhere. But if you're a leader and you're running a company, make sure you identify these people and you give them the resources they need to invent whatever it is, the next generation of something.
That's an inspiring story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, I did want to get your thoughts on Switzerland developing its own large language models, but using its own universities, Daniel. And I wanted to get your thoughts on the development pipeline for skills from the education sector to the labor force. How can that be built up and improved upon?
Exactly. So when they do this, I mean, that's a major infrastructure investment. That's something we have to think about a little bit and understand and pour in money into this. What are they expecting? Are they expecting this model to go out and become a new crazy product that everybody will use? I'm not sure that's the expectation. I think they're calculating on ripple effects. Ripple effects are these people work on this, and then they, of some reason, will leave, and they will start their own companies, or they will join some kind of current company. And this will generate new companies, large companies that will grow and start exports and everything else, is an important investment they're doing. So if we want to do the same in Nigeria or any other country, we have to make sure that we first think about what are the skills of the future. And then we need to invest in this. We need to put in the infrastructure, the money, all these things, and we need to enable this cross-pollination, the ripple effect, making sure that knowledge is spread not only in academia, but into the organization, the companies, everywhere, so we can see new startups, new companies, new interesting projects that are just, hopefully changing the world into many different ways.
Thanks for your insights there, Daniel. How much faith do you have in self-study when it comes to building skills in the field of tech? There's a lot of self-help videos. I mean, your company is a platform that's supposed to help with productivity and building up skills. So, I know this is difficult material, but how much faith do you place in self-study from individuals who just want to learn on their own with online tools to build up tech skills?
Especially tech skills is very important. So absolutely, yes, I strongly believe in self-study. Look, if you go to university and you study tech, next year it's outdated, it's going so fast. The degree is there to help you learn how to think, to understand the current state, and then you are responsible to self-develop. And most developers in the world are actually self-taught. They do that online courses, GitHub projects, they do all these different things. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit jealous. I wish all this stuff was available when I was younger. It's crazy. Look, there are so many free courses, forums, projects, anything. You could download a free version of ChatGPT and just ask it anything. You can learn whatever you want. If you want to be better, get a better career, do anything, just make sure you learn something new every day and that you stay curious. Whatever the subject is, just stay curious. I always think about Steve Jobs and that he took a course in calligraphy, and that gave him the idea that why is everything on a computer ugly? I just want to make it beautiful. And that led to, amazing stuff later on. You never know what's going to happen in the end. Stay curious, explore, learn new things all the time.
Yep, continuous learning. It's really important. I'm glad you mentioned Steve Jobs, because his successor, Tim Cook, Steve Jobs, of course, for everybody should know Steve Jobs, CEO of Apple, former CEO of Apple. Tim Cook was at a dinner with other tech leaders at the White House. There was one person missing there, but I wanted to ask you what it says, what that dinner says about the importance of the technology industry to the U.S. economy.
I think there were several people missing. You and I were not there, for example.
That's right.
But maybe next time we are invited. Look, I think, obviously this dinner really show how important it is. So tech is extremely important in U.S. It's about 20% of their GDP. Millions and millions of Americans are dependent on the digital economy. And these companies, Apple, Google, Microsoft, etc., they are all exporting a lot. They are extremely important. And I think that the president really wants to show everybody, look, these tech leaders, they are key national stakeholders. They are important for us. And I want to come back to this ripple effect. The ripple effect is these companies generate new companies. When people have ideas, they will leave Meta, they will leave Google, they will leave Microsoft, but they learn a lot from these companies, and they will go and invent new organization, new things, and so on. So I'm not sure tech is really a sector. It is an important backbone in the economy and probably for their national strategy.
Now, Daniel, look, you've traveled around the world. We are here in Nigeria as keynote speaker at the Philips Consulting AI report launch. How can, based on your observations of just going from continent to continent, how can other nations build the type of, you just said it's not even an industry, it's bigger than that, but how can they build something close to a tech industry that the US has?
You need to invest. So, look, the first thing was, we talked a little bit about what the Swiss university is doing. You need to do the same thing. Education is key. When we have an employee coming to a company, they have to be a little bit more ready. And the more ready we can make them, the better. So education is key. Giving those skills, life skills, tech skills, whatever skills it is, we need to do that. The next thing is culture of entrepreneurship. We have to make sure that it is okay to fail, because most startups do fail, but then they succeed sometimes. We have to make sure these startups are supported in different ways. We have to make sure there's capital, because everything costs money. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. So we have to make sure it's easy for VCs. We maybe give out some grants. We maybe could do our best to attract this global investment. Then, very important, infrastructure. Look, whatever you do, make sure you have the best internet cables in the world that are never interrupted. They just work. You can go anywhere and you have super high-speed internet. That's very important. Electricity, digital payments, all this infrastructure that makes it easy to run a startup is very, very important to build this. Then, of course, open economy. It's easy to move jobs, easy to maybe actually move to Nigeria if you're a foreigner and go and learn from Nigeria, spread your knowledge there and have this interaction. Then we can never talk about this without the government. Look, taxes need to be paid. You need to do all your reports. You need to do all this stuff. The more complicated the government have done, the more time I have to spend on doing this reporting instead of building a startup and create a success. Dear government, just make sure it works and that it's easy to understand, it's easy to pay taxes, or easy to do the reporting. So in the end, look, Silicon Valley and this US tech industry was not built overnight. It took a really long time. They have a recipe, and this recipe can be repeated in any country, any region, anywhere in the world.
That's inspiring stuff and encouraging. Thanks for that laundry list there. It's stuff that governments and the private sector really do need to pay attention to. Now, I don't know if this is an exaggeration or hyperbole. I want to get your thoughts here. Barclays Bank, an analyst there, the head of global margins and acquisitions, says we could see a $100 billion M&A deal in AI in the near future. Is that too ambitious, or do you also see that type of growth?
No, I definitely see it. I mean, they have happened before. Like you had this, what's AT&T and Time Warner. You have Broadcom and Qualcomm. What is interesting is the insane amounts spent on AI research, building AI products, all the AI startups. Is I saw some number. I didn't triple check it, but they say about $3 trillion in the next 3 years. That's a lot of money. So naturally, probably somebody want to buy something, merge something. They want to create and win when it comes to this race, as we can see it. So that probably will happen, but there are challenges. It's not that easy anymore. In US and Europe, there are a lot of regulations. It's very difficult to find a seller and a buyer. And of course, there are big antitrust regulations that will stop this. So yeah, let's see what happens. It's very exciting though. I'm looking forward to see all the news coming.
Daniel, excellent stuff. I'm just going to squeeze one more question. You touched on this during your keynote. Are you worried about jobs losses from AI? I mean, as with all these billion-dollar deals that are being talked about, well, maybe you can repeat what you said while doing your speech, but what's your belief on, with everyone saying, or others, some saying that AI could lead to a loss of jobs? What's your take on that?
We have always been worried that jobs will be lost. Blue collar to white collar to this tech to that tech. We humans just love to create new stuff. It's not a problem. If we will have a release of a phone, we will invent an app store, and suddenly there's an app economy, and we all are creating apps and selling apps and buying apps. I'm 100% sure no jobs will be lost. There will be just more. But the requirement of a worker will be higher. That I want to highlight. You have to learn faster. You have to be more curious, because suddenly you can actually do a lot as a single person. You could be a person that never programmed, and you could kind of learn how to program. You could be a person that never done a business plan, and you can create a business plan, all thanks to AI. So I think there will be more jobs created, but in industries and concepts and things and projects we never even thought about could be possible. Just like there were apps on a phone, and suddenly you have an entire economy around that.
Daniel Nilsson, co-founder, CEO, MuchSkills. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for your time. Got to have you back in the future. Thanks, Daniel.